Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Raising the New Earth podcast with today's episode, Embracing the Summer's End and Back to School Transition. So, if you're like me, if you have a family, kids, or even family members going back to school, I thought that emphasizing the importance of fostering a new earth mentality during this period can be of tremendous benefit to all of us. And so this time is a really significant time for growth. This is an opportunity for both us, the parents, and our children to set the tone for a discussion on how to make this transition more mindful and, as always, scientifically grounded. So let's talk about the summer's impact on mental health and brain development for a few moments. So Dr. Daniel Amen, for whoever doesn't know him, he's a leading psychiatrist in the States. He's a holistic psychiatrist that I absolutely adore. His studies actually have shown how summer activities, particularly those involving physical exercise and nature exposure, contribute to brain health. Dr. Amen emphasizes that physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, as we know, and enhances the cognitive function and emotional stability. Actually, there's a supporting study from 2014 published in Frontiers in Psychology that found that children who spent more time in green spaces had better attention spans and emotional regulation compared to those who spent less time outdoors. So that doesn't mean that if your kid has played Fortnite all summer, he or she won't be ready for school year, but it does mean that they were able to release and increase more blood flow to their brain and probably soak some great biome, right? Forest biome, the greens biome. So the as far as brain connectivity works, the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in 2015 showed that nature walks decreases activity uh, in the prefrontal cortex, which is the brain region that is associated with negative thinking. Some practical tips that we can engage in as parents are to encourage our children to continue to incorporate nature and physical activities into our children's routines as they transition back to school. Um, Family nature walks, even playing outside, shutting off. Like I have a timer for my kids if they play video games or they're on their devices. Depending on their age group, I limited between 20 minutes and an hour, and I have them do outdoor reading sessions or play with, their pets outside, jumping on the trampoline, and just unstructured playtime as ways to maintain these benefits that we mentioned. So as we transition into back to the school year, I really dug deep into Dr. Zach Bush's views on holistic education, which advocates for an integrated approach to learning that includes emotional intelligence, SEL, social emotional learning, connection with nature, and understanding of interdependence. I really enjoyed, on a personal note, I really enjoyed the teacher we had for our girl last year. He was so amazing. Whenever he noticed that the kids in class needed a break, he actually had them walk outside in the schoolyard and then go back in when they were ready. I thought it was so brilliant because I personally do not believe that the school system is functioning to the best of its ability. I mean, having kids sitting in front of a desk for 2 hours is not beneficial for the child or the teacher. There's no concentration, there's dozing off. What we really need is kids to be more active so they will be able to absorb the information that the teacher is trying to teach. So some of the kids that I have in my clinic right now have attention deficit disorder, ADD, ADHD, some with light autism. So the focus right now is to get them back on how to cope with the school year that's right around the corner when it comes to hydration and nutrition and brain fuel, and how to allow themselves to feel the feelings that they want to feel without that frustration and anger that meets them on the other side. So we gotta share strategies, right, to both educators and parents, such as the ones that I named, in order to integrate these principles into the school year. The outdoor learning experience is amazing. I know that in our kids' school, they do have a little farm, so they get to go outside and watch, whatever they grew grow. They also have mindful practices. One of the teacher has little symbols. Another teacher has like a chime for emotional intelligence accomplishment. And in 2017, there was a study from the Journal of Educational Psychology that found that students with higher emotional intelligence scored better in the academic performance and social interactions. So I think both educators and parents want their the children to excel, and I think there's better ways of doing it than having a child sit behind a desk for 2 hours without allowing them to stretch their feet or you know dance a little bit or release some of that tension. um, when we talk about brain health and education, we have to look at Dr. Daniel Amen's again findings on the importance of brain health in education. So his research shows that students with healthier brains, as indicated by higher levels of physical activity and better nutrition, do perform better academically and have lower rates of behavioral issues. That's why in my clinic, I do emphasize the importance of hydration. And unfortunately, for those, I have to be the I have to be the one who breaks it to you, but water is not hydrating enough. And so when we send our kids to school with water, it is not hydrating. And what they're lacking is really glycogen, which is the brain fuel. So I send my kids to school with coconut water. I send my kids to school with water with lemon, a little bit of high quality salt for the extra minerals that they will need, especially in hot summer months. I send my water to school with fruit juice of some sort. Their preferred juice is apple juice because of the high, again, glycogen levels. So be mindful about the nutrition that you expose your kids to, not just from obesity standpoint or diabetes standpoint, but also from the aspect of better brain health during the school year, right? Performing better academically and having those low rates of behavioral issues. In 2018, there was a meta-analysis from environmental health perspectives, which concluded that regular exposure to natural environments is linked to improved cognitive function and also reduced symptoms of ADHD and enhanced academic performance in children. And so when you do get to choose your children's extracurriculum activities, just be mindful of having them be in nature, have them be in nature, properly hydrate them after, but absolutely have them be in nature. The examples of school that have successfully implemented nature-based and holistic education practices are too many to name. There is a forest schools model in the UK, for example, where children spend a significant portion of their school by learning outdoors, which is amazing. And these schools have reported higher levels of student engagement and improved academic outcomes. I went to see a school in our area where all the curriculum is done outside, and for a little while I did consider sending our kids to school there, but after touring the local schools, I decided that the local schools is actually what they need for my kids. But the data is there. I mean, the engagement and improved academic outcomes is very, very obvious with those types of schools. So we need to embrace that approach. So if we can't or won't send our kids to a nature-based schools, we do need to think about those activities after school that can lead to better mental health and academic success for our children. And those families that incorporate outdoor activities like a weekend hike or going to the beach, mindfulness, paying attention to the emotions that are rising at any given moment, having room for that emotion. Don't ignore that emotion, but have the child help that child release that emotion with love. So that emotional intelligence exercises can be incorporated in your daily routine and the daily routine of your children as well. I like the Calm app And I like the Breathe app. All these provide guided meditations for the child, and they can focus on a particular topic that your child may be struggling with. So just pay attention. I know that we're so busy as parents, working. I work and I study. There's a lot on our plate, but don't neglect your children that really, really need you now. So make room um, for your own growth, for your own wellness, and then attend to your children's wellness and brain health. Right. So, in summary, we discussed a few points of how the lessons of summer can be carried into the school year to foster a healthier, more connected approach to education and life. Uh, I will continue to encourage listeners to explore ways to incorporate these principles into your own daily lives and the daily lives of your children's routines. Those specific actions like meditating or joining nature based educational programs or going on a family hike over the weekend, going to the beach, practice mindfulness, and prioritizing outdoor activities and brain health are really, really important as we transition to the school year. So, as always, thank you so much for listening and stay tuned for upcoming episodes and resources related to this topic. I invite you to stay tuned for more insights on raising the new earth. Until next time, see you later.